Hello, Dark Reader, and welcome to the Dark Side of the Library podcast. I'm your host, Katie. Usually on Fridays we do a mini-sode, but today we're going to catch up a little bit on our curated books that we have been finding over the months. So we are going to be talking about graphic novels and comic books that have come out in July of 2023. First, we're starting strong. It's a Mike Mignola comic book. It is Castle Full of Blackbirds. This comes out July 25th. It's not just Mike Mignola. There's a whole host of people who have contributed. Angela SLATTER, Valeria Burzo, Michelle Madsen, and Clem Robbins. Sarah May Blackburn has always been an odd girl, plagued by mysterious powers her whole life. Sarah heads to New York to seek Miss Brooke at the Linton School for Girls. But the school is shrouded in strangeness, and the more secrets Sarah discovers, the more dangerous and challenging her studies become. Sarah must reveal the forces that seek to control her power. So this is a story that's full of witchcraft and magic, and it's a whole entire world of Hellboy. I'm very excited. So this is published by Dark Horse Books. It is Castle Full of Blackbirds. This is volumes number 1 through 4. So get started and start getting like the big ones. Castle Full of Birds by Mike Mignola. We have 2 classic pop-up books that I wanted to share. It's not necessarily a comic book. I guess it kind of is. So it's a 3D pop-up in a graphic adaptation. The first one I want to talk about is Dracula, and of course, this is by Bram Stoker, but the illustrator is Anthony Williams, and this came out July 18th. So I guess if you need to know the story, we have Jonathan Harker encounters Count Dracula at his castle in Transylvania. He has little idea of what horror awaits him and his fiancée Mina. Only with the help of the vampire hunter Abraham Van Helsing are they able to muster the courage to thwart Dracula's evil plan. This actually looks really fun. So it's a really big pop-up. It's not what I was anticipating. It's only 14 pages. And then our next pop-up is actually Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This also came out July 18th. This is also 14 pages, beautifully illustrated, and again by Anthony Williams. So when the scientist Victor Frankenstein attempts to create a new being from dead corpses, he has little knowledge of the horrors that await, or of the anguish that his actions will wreak on his own creation. This is a classic, and again, art style, pretty classic and great. I love these huge pop-ups. They are massive and just so pretty. This would actually be a really great gift for a kiddo even. So both of these classic pop-ups were published by Canterbury Classics. This is the classic pop-up of Frankenstein. This is illustrated by Anthony Williams. Now back to some new stuff. We have Coda Deluxe Edition. This came out July 4th. And this has got some really fantastic reviews over on Goodreads. This is by Simon Spurrier and Matías. Bergara is the illustrator. This is the whole, I think the entire series. It is 320 pages. It's a hardcover, and it was an Eisner Award nominated fantasy series. Let's see what this is about. After an apocalypse which wiped out nearly all magic from a once wondrous fantasy world, an antisocial former bard named Hum seeks a way to save the soul of his wife with nothing but a foul-tempered mutant unicorn and his wits to protect him. But in the process, he is unwillingly drawn into the brutal power struggle which will decide forever who rules the weird wasteland. Simon Spurrier did The Dreaming and Star Wars, but Matías Bergara did Step by Bloody Step and John Constantine Hellblazer. This is a very, very beautifully done book. I'm not gonna lie. The unicorn cracks me up, but the art style is very interesting. It's dark, but it's like the art style is pastel. I've never read this before, so I'm really excited to give this a go. There's clearly some awesome stuff in here. This is Coda, the Deluxe Edition. This is by Simon Spurrier and Matías Bergara. Next on my list today, this one's for kiddos. This is The Deadly Bell Witch Ghost, a ghostly graphic novel. This will come out July 31st. It's by Blake Hoena and Amerigo Pinelli illustrates. In 1817, a terrifying specter began haunting John Bell and his family in Tennessee. At first, the spooky spirit's knocking and scratching sounds seemed harmless, but soon, the phantom's antics became more sinister and even deadly. Who was the Bell Witch, and why did she torment John and his family so much? We'll find out why, and this is a pretty easy to read ghostly graphic novel. This will be really fun pre-Halloween because I've never even heard of this before, this whole story. Your kid could be very knowledgeable in fun, awesome ghost stories. This is published by Capstone Press. This is for reading ages 9 through 12, so mid-grade readers. This is The Deadly Bell Witch Ghost. This is by Blake Hoena and Amerigo Pinelli. Next on our list today is 50. This is by Rémi, Guérin, Hank Kanalz, and Alexis Sentenac. This came out July 11th. A special unit of the FBI has the mission of cataloging, classifying, and tracking down the worst serial killers in the country. But some do not fit the profile and have been proven to be elusive. There are 50 of these killers tagged as suspect zeros. The most formidable of all, codenamed Schrodinger's cat, decides to challenge the FBI by tracking down the other 49. His rules of the game are simple. The feds find his designated target before him. He will reveal a clue about himself. If they arrive too late, he will kill each suspect zero one by one. This looks really interesting. I like the premise of this, and I definitely want to give this one a shot. I've never seen anything quite like this. It is called 50 by Rémi Guérin, Hank Kanalz, and Alexis Sentenac. Next up, we have Heart Eyes. It's the complete series. Sometimes I like to wait for comics to just have the whole thing so I can read the entire thing rather than waiting, because sometimes it takes forever. This is by Dennis Hopeless, Adrian F. Wassel, Victor Ibanez, Addison Duke, etc. It's a post-apocalyptic monster story. It's Lovecraftian, it's romantic, it's really interesting. One devil-may-care teenager named Lupe, who is much more than she seems. Sanity-eating monsters ended humanity. The unlucky few who survived now hide in the cracks of a broken world. And yet somehow, beneath the graveyard that used to be San Antonio, Rico met Lupe, the girl of his dreams, and an enigma. How did she get here, and why is she smiling? No one survives out in the street. No one smiles where the monsters lurk, but Lupe does. Join teenagers Rico and Lupe as they journey through the desolate landscape of monstrous devastation and their own obstacle-ridden relationship. So this comic book series explores themes like loneliness, mental illness, being your own worst enemy, which, aren't we all? And human connection, reflecting the pandemic and post-pandemic world in which we live. And plus, if you are a Lovecraftian fan, it is definitely inspired by it. The art is it's fantastic. And the monsters are so chaotic, hysterical, fun. This looks like a really great read. So this is Heart Eyes. This is by Dennis Hopeless, Adrian F. Wassel, Victor Ibanez, and Addison Duke. Next, we have a really short explanation, but honestly, the comic cover itself makes me really want to read this. It's called Lovesick. It comes out July 25th. It's by Luana Vecchio, and they do the art and the writing. So here on Image Comics, we can see what Lovesick is truly about. It is premiered the Lovesick Club, is an exclusive subscriber-only site on the dark web that offers the best in erotic and ultra-violent entertainment. There, matriarch Domino and her fellow dominatrixes punish and torture none other than their loyal subscribers, many of whom pay good money to meet their end by her hand in front of a large, anonymous audience. But in the eyes of her rage-filled haters, Domino is the mother demon, a deranged succubus who oppresses men by turning them into her slaves. For this crime against men, she must be hunted down and punished. This is a neon-soaked horror saga. I have to get it. It's so ridiculous and over the top. It looks so freaking cool. This is called Lovesick. This is by Luana Vecchio. We have two more. So next we have Night of the Ghoul. This is by the one and only Scott Snyder. And we have Francesco Francavilla as the illustrator. This came out July 4th. This is published by Dark Horse Comics. Scott Snyder is a horror master in American comic books. This is a reimagining of horror monsters, and it celebrates classic creature features. Horror film obsessive Forrest Inman stumbles across a seemingly forgotten canister of old footage. Thinking he has found the legendary, unreleased, would-be classic 1936 film, quote, Night of the Ghoul, he sets off on a dark odyssey to the California desert, where he's warned that the film's ghoul is far more than a work of fiction. It's a very real monster who plans to kill him. It was said to be the greatest horror movie in cinematic history. Shot in 1936, The Night of the Ghoul by writer-director T.F. Merritt was meant to sit beside Frankenstein and Dracula as an instant classic, but the legendary film never made it to the silver screen. Just before editing was finished, a mysterious studio fire destroyed the footage and killed the cast and crew celebrating at a wrap party. Rumors of the doomed film's greatness persist to this day, but no footage from it was ever recovered until now. So this is a collection of Night of the Ghoul 1 through 3. This is 192 pages. The art looks really fun. I like the creepy tower that's actually a mouth and a person crying out blood. It looks like it, at least. So this is by Scott Snyder and Francesco Francavilla. This is Night of the Ghoul. Now, finally on our list today, we have Werewolf. The publisher is Encyclopocalypse Publications. This looks really cute. It came out July 7th by Rob Cicedo, Deborah Lancinisi, and Jack Morelli. Something scary stalks the streets of Texas, leaving a trail of corpses in its wake. The only person standing in its way is Larry Cheney, a slacker reporter who can't hold a job. Can't keep a girlfriend, and doesn't even know the capital of Australia. Woof. Larry must go undercover at a local furry convention. It's a long story, but trust us. If he has any hope of stopping the beast dead set on turning the Lone Star State into an all-you-can-eat buffet. This looks hilarious. It is called Werewolf. This is by Rob Saucedo. So that is my list of comic books that are coming out in July of 2023. If you do find one of these interesting, make sure to go check our show notes out and check out our Amazon Live channel for more comic books and our socials at Dark Side of the Library. We'd love to see you there. Also join us on YouTube if you do want to see the book covers. That's kind of the inspiration for a lot of this stuff. Make sure to spread the word about Dark Side of the Library to your loved ones. Thank you so much for your support. Stay tuned every Friday and Monday for new episodes. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.